The assessment of what powers the president can wield on his own to address this problem is something that will be determined by legal experts, in this case under the leadership of the Attorney General of the United States and the Secretary of Homeland Security. But I do think that as a practical matter, the president's desire to act where Congress has failed is strengthened by the fact that there is such broad support all across the country for trying to impose solutions to a problem or a set of problems that everybody acknowledges exists.
All right, folks, welcome to Give Me Five. Josh Earnest, the president's spokesman, talking about why it's kind of justifiable for the president to sign that big executive order that he says he's going to sign on immigration reform. John Karl, he gave them a hard time on this. Watch.
Does the president still stand by those statements? Does he still think that I've done what I can, as he said in the past, I've done what I can on my own, I can't do further, what needs to happen now is legislative action, or has that view changed?
The president's view has not changed. The only thing that has changed is that for a period of time that extended more than a year, there was an opportunity for Congress to take action to address these problems. And the fact is that all of the well, I'd say it this way, any of the problems or any of the potential actions that the president could take would not be as enduring or robust as policies that can be put in place by Congress. That's just the way that our system is structured.
All right. Now, Ed Henry asks a great question. What happened during your first 2 years when you had the House and the Senate? Why didn't the president do anything then? Watch.
The trigger is congressional inaction. Why didn't the president take executive action on immigration back in 2009, 2010 when House Democrats failed to act?
Because the president was committed to trying to work through Congress. I think this is evidence that the president's been very patient.
2 years. Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, they were running the House and Senate. First 2 years of this administration, the president vowed back in 2008, by the end of my first year in office, we'll pass comprehensive immigration reform. That was his promise. So they failed to act for 2 years. Why didn't he do anything then?
What a great question. Why is it taking Ed Henry? Why is it Ed Henry who asks this on August 4th, 2014? This should have been asked a long time ago of this president and this administration. Bravo to not Ed Henry, Jonathan Karl. Here's the answer.
I will say a couple things about that, Ed. The first is that at the time, you recall back in 2009, there were many things on the president's plate.
There are now. Israel, Gaza, Syria, the economy. He has a lot going on now, right?
He does, but I think that the crisis that we faced in 2009 as it related to our financial system and our economy, hemorrhaging jobs, that was understandably the focal point of congressional activity, but also a lot of activity here at the White House.
Right. So, by the way, that was Ed Henry. The first two cuts with Jonathan Karl. Now he's responding to Ed Henry. But President had a lot on his plate then. He had nothing on his plate then except Obamacare. That's all he cared about. That's all he was focused on for 2 years. That's why he got nothing else done. Nothing. And it didn't even take 2 years. And he still got nothing else done. More.
There's no doubt that we would have liked to have seen immigration reform get done years ago. I think that is also something that is shared by Democrats and Republicans. All the more reason it is completely unreasonable for House Republicans to continue to block common sense reforms that have strong bipartisan support all across the country.
All right. Well, Ed Henry still isn't accepting that answer. He goes further and he presses Mr. Earnest, and here's how it went.
Several times here, we're focused on solving problems. When you're asking about it, we're focused on. So you had a chance. You had the House, Senate, and White House, 2009, 2010. Why didn't you focus on solving immigration problems then?
And my point is, Ed, that there were a lot of other crises that the president was focused on at that point. And what we're focused on now is trying to find common sense solutions, bipartisan solutions, to a problem that a wide variety, a wide majority of Americans acknowledge exists at this point.
So they had a lot of problems back then in 09 and 010, so they couldn't focus on immigration reform. Now, the world's a much better place. The economy's all fixed. The world isn't blowing up. Everybody's at peace. Obamacare's not a mess. You name it. So now he could focus on immigration. Does that make any sense to you? Doesn't make any sense to me either. On the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax Television, your Newsmax Now update is next.